Yo, welcome back to another episode of the Ultimate Comics Contest, where we figure out who is the best with a specific power in all of comics. Today we're focusing on one of the more higher tier superpowers that bless the pages throughout the years, the ability to shapeshift. Originating from the oldest forms of totemism, which is a belief system where people believe they can transform into their spirit animals, as well as Greek and Nordic mythology, with characters like Zeus and Loki. So to me, it makes complete sense that this has always been a high tier power, partly because of figures like Loki, with that power being one of the things he's known for, and because it's so versatile. You can transform either your whole body or specific parts of it into anything you want, or just change the shape of your body. So you can blend into your surroundings, change into various weapons, be a different person, you name it. The list goes on, and that's why a lot of characters have this one power alone. But the first person that really put this power on the map in the comics was none other than Plastic Man back in 1941. And I'll admit, it's widely believed that he is the best shapeshifter in comics. But I want to try to prove that wrong, bro, I do. So let's quickly figure out who is the best in each category, just to see if there's anyone that can actually beat everything Plastic Man did throughout the years. And whoever wins this contest will go against the best shapeshifter in all of anime. So if you're cool with that, get your popcorn and pitchforks ready, because we're finally gonna decide once and for all who is the most powerful shapeshifter in all of comics. Starting with our first category, shapeshifters who can only transform into objects and elements. And some of these powers are ass, no offense. Like Zan from Wonder Twins, bro. Like, he's an OG, but he can only transform into like a puddle of water or make ice sculptures. And don't get me wrong, it has its uses, but he's definitely one of the more weaker shapeshifters in this category. Same with Husk from X-Men. She's powerful, but she can only shapeshift by ripping her skin off in order to expose whatever form underneath, which is normally metal or stone, but it can be anything she wants, really. But still, I don't think she's really in the conversation in this category. Same thing with the Transformers. They're strong, but they could be beaten by any of these other characters semi-easily. Like the Human Torch. Y'all can kill me, but Human Torch would decimate Optimus Prime. Okay, maybe not decimate. I think it'll be like semi-close, but I think Human Torch will still win. But yeah, people that can shapeshift into an element are shapeshifters. And they're really strong, like the Human Torch, who's able to burn hotter than a supernova that could rupture the multiverse. Iceman, who literally made hell freeze over. Or even Clayface, who can not only shapeshift into whoever he wants, but also has the strength to rip off a reinforced metal door and crush it with ease. But they're not the best because they have the same weaknesses as the element themselves. So spray the Human Torch with enough water and he's screwed. Hydro Man make the environment so hot that he evaporates, you know, etc. So that means the top 3 characters in this category, without a doubt, has to include characters that can shift into these elements, but also doesn't have the same weaknesses. So let me know y'all's top 3 in this category, but for me, number 3 is Super Scroll. Because for one, he has the powers of the Fantastic Four, and whenever he uses those powers, he shapeshifts his body in order to do it. So he has the strength and durability of Mr. Fantastic and can engulf his body in flames, as well as the super strength of the Thing, and he can use them all at the same time. But even though he's powerful, the best thing about him is his force fields, and I can't even count those in this. So this low, high tier character would lose against an Omega level mutant slash shapeshifter like Iceman. And to be honest, this dude deserves his own video with how powerful he is. Y'all already know that he froze part of hell over, but what y'all probably don't know is that this dude is pretty much immortal. Throughout the years, he gained so much power. Like at first, he just had like an icy shell over his body, but now he's just pure ice. And because of that, he can turn into water vapor to slip in and out of places or whatever he wants to do with it, evaporates and rain himself down. And anytime he's killed, he can reform himself again and again and can use other people's moisture in their bodies as well as around them against him. So he can turn your blood into ice if you wanted to. Unless you were with me, you know, I'll beat him up for you. But yeah, that goes for any living being. The dude is a powerhouse, but he still falls short to the winner of this category, Metamorpho from DC, because he can counter really anything Iceman can throw at him via shapeshifting alone. And not even just Iceman, anybody. He can transform into any element at will, either his whole body or parts of his body, which is incredibly broken. First, it was limited to only the elements in his body, but now it can be any element in the periodic table, or maybe even alien elements. and he can stretch his body just like Mr. Fantastic and Plastic Man. And sure, he doesn't look the best and probably can't stretch as far as them two, but him being able to shapeshift into any object and element, and plus he can go between gas, liquid, and solid states with ease, bro. Like, come on, this dude is #1. Literally, who can beat him in this category? Like, if y'all can, prove me wrong, but I doubt you can. Now, the next category is for characters who can only shapeshift into people. So that goes for Chameleon from the Spider-Man comics and my second wife, Mystique. She's definitely the most famous character in this category, debuting in Miss Marvel #18. And what's special about her is that unlike the Skrulls and Chameleon, she has complete control over herself and her genes. So she can shapeshift into whoever she sees, but also can make up someone from scratch and turn into them. She ages extremely slow and can rearrange her insides in order to live longer. But she's still not the best, because there's people who can shapeshift into someone else and also take their memories along with it, like the Shifter from The Boys. The only problem is they can't stay in that form for as long as Mystique can. There's actually a good amount of characters in this category, but the top 3 has to be characters that can get more than just another person's looks. So for #3, I've gotta give it to Lucki. Bro can transform into anyone he wants to an incredible degree, and combines shapeshifting with illusion magic to make it more believable and even trick the likes of Wolverine, who, mind you, can sniff out when a ninja is lying. The only problem is he can't stay low-key. The dude's too conceited for that. So after a bit of time, he'll almost always get caught. That's not a problem for our #2 pick though, Mystique, because you'll never know it's her. Because when she transforms, it's down to a genetic level, and she just has more control over her body, like moving around her organs and stuff like that, all through shapeshifting, and Lucki cannot do that, or at least not that I know of. But our #1 pick has to go to Morph, because not only can he do all of that, but he's also way more durable with his power, and he can replicate other people's powers to a lesser degree. And this is something I'm a little confused a bit on, actually, because normally when he transforms into a character, he can mimic their physical powers, right? Like when he transformed into the Blob in X-Men '97. Wolverine just bounced off of his stomach. That's understandable because that's a physical attribute. Same thing when he transformed into Psylocke and was just doing some flips and stuff like that. That's physical attributes. But then they changed into Quicksilver and ran fast as
I'm fast as fuck, boy.
That crap confused me. So I'm not even sure what all he can do anymore, because he shouldn't be able to run that fast. Because super speed is not just a physical attribute, that's a whole power. Maybe he can copy mutant powers, but at the same time he shouldn't be able to replicate Jean Grey's telepathy, you know what I'm saying? So y'all, let me know, but I'm not sure where his limitations are anymore with this shape-shifting power. But he's #1 because that's pretty crazy. Like, y'all gotta admit, that's pretty crazy. But alright, now category 3. These consist of characters that can only transform into animals. Vixen is already out of here because her shapeshifting is more internal or spiritual, you know, because of her ancient family heirloom or something like that. So she takes the spirit of an animal instead of actually transforming, and when she does this, only small proportions change, but that's about it. Then we got Reptile from Marvel, who's in that one show and is limited to only dinosaurs, and Snowbird from DC, who's a demigod but can only transform into Arctic animals native to Canada. There's a lot of contenders here, but I'm not gonna hold you. I think we all know who #1 here is, and it's Beast Boy. I never knew how broken this dude actually really was. In the comics, Beast Boy originally gained his powers after he fell ill to a deadly sickness in Africa. His father, being a brilliant scientist, performed a procedure on his son that temporarily transformed him into a species of green monkey that was immune to the disease. And because of this monkey form, Beast Boy survived. But it also permanently changed his skin and hair into this green color, and he gained shapeshifting abilities. He can shapeshift into any kind of animal, so be it normal or extinct ones, aliens, spiritual or even mythical ones. He can morph multiple times in a row and has no limitations as far as I know outside of fatigue or maybe that Shigo color scheme. There's even some occasions where he does partial transformations in multi-forms. So without a doubt in my mind, Beast Boy takes the cake in this category. Now coming in with the 4th category, body manipulation. And this has to be one of the easiest category in this video, bro. Like, we know who it is, but let's give the other guys a chance. First is Comic Kamala Khan, and she's actually a pretty cool character. I was a hater at first, I'm not gonna lie, but she's like a more straightforward Mr. Fantastic. You know, the bigger she gets, the more strength there is behind her attacks. And using this, she can take on kaijus 20 times her size, beat up ninjas while on the phone, and she can even shrink. But since she's a fairly new character, she doesn't have that many feats, so I can't really put her up there like that. Mr. Fantastic, I love this dude, but even though he's done some great things, he's not even close to Plastic Man. Elastigirl is in the same boat as him, and the Elongated Man is just a worse Mr. Fantastic, at least to me he is. Comic Morpho is surprisingly the only person that can give Plastic Man a run for his money here. They can be splatted, shredded, and anything in between and still come out just fine. They can even shapeshift into things like a submarine, make a Mega Man arm cannon, transform into dragons. I always thought their powers were limited to only people, but no, they can do a lot. But despite all of that, Plastic Man has done way more, and that's why no one else is even close to him. This ex-con turned superhero got his powers after being shot by a policeman and was exposed to an unknown acid when he was trying to rob a chemical plant. At first, he couldn't control his body, but after he gets the hang of it, he became one of the most powerful members of the Justice League. He can turn into anything and anyone, either his whole body or parts of it. He can even be a working lamp just to sneak a peek at a woman. He can mimic people as well, a lot like Mystique can hold his own against Furnace, an enemy that already defeated the entire Justice League and is pretty much known for doing things that others would find impossible. Oh yeah, and he's immortal. This was established whenever he was scattered into small pieces throughout the bottom of the ocean for thousands of years and still remained conscious the entire time until he was found again. Even the characters from Injustice is low-key scared of him, like the man is too OP. But we'll talk about him more in the last category because we're moving on to the second to last, characters that can shapeshift into creatures and monsters. And this is crazy, but the Hulk is technically a shapeshifter, and he's considered a creature. Bruce Banner's shape changes when he gets angry and he transforms into the Hulk, so he actually is a huge contender to be #1. I know it's crazy, but it's true. Monster Girl from Invincible would be crushed by the Hulk. Ben 10 shapeshifts into different aliens, but most of his alien forms will be demolished, maybe except for like Alien X or something. I'm actually not sure. I wonder, you know, that's actually a future video. Werewolf by Night, crushed. Wolfsbane. All the characters that can transform into werewolves or wolf adjacent would get demolished. Same goes with Scaleface, a woman that technically already died but got resurrected, but yeah, she can transform into this dragon-like humanoid monster. Venom is actually in here too, but despite all that, I still have to give it to Beast Boy here, because not only can he transform into any creature that's considered an animal like a dragon or a unicorn, but he can be video game creatures as well, biblical creatures. He can even be the fucking Monkey King, which means he's able to have the same power, which includes immortality and invulnerability, among other things like size manipulation, flight, super strength. Anything Hanuman, which is the character he transformed into, can do, Beast Boy can do. I bet he could even transform into Super Shenron if he really wanted to. So at first this was gonna be a tie, but I'm also gonna give this to Beast Boy.
He was #1.
Okay, now we're at our final category, the best shapeshifters of all kinds. Meaning every character in this category can transform into anything and anyone. Like, they have next to no limitations and they're extremely powerful. So what I'm gonna do is do a top 5 and quickly explain in detail why I rank them here, and the #1 will be the best shapeshifter in all of comics. Starting at number 5, my boy Beast Boy, because his transformations span far beyond normal animals, and y'all already know this, we talked about this twice. So he can do everything we already talked about. Oh, and also any Ben 10 alien, he can be that with ease. But also in theory, he could transform into a Kryptonian animal as well, like Crypto, and have the same powers as him. So basically, if it's considered an animal, he can transform into it, which is extremely powerful. But even though he's powerful, he's still not as versatile as our 4th pick, Metamorpho. And I put him over Beast Boy because of his mastery over all of the elements, as well as him changing from different states like solids, liquids, and gases. So because of this alone, he's already incredibly more versatile. He'll be more effective against a larger number of people, and he has a wider range of capabilities and uses, versus Beast Boy, who tends to be more straightforward in fights, you know, punch first, think later. Number 3 though is someone that I didn't even mention yet, but that's because he just doesn't use the power as often as his other ones, and that's Martian Manhunter. The man has one of the best shapeshifting in comics because even though he can transform into elements, that's the only real limitation he has. He can do everything else everyone else can do, and he can even shapeshift his body like none other can. Like for example, his only real weakness is fire, right? But that's purely psychological. It's not really a physical weakness that he has. So what he can do is remove that fear from his brain, and that's how he became one of the most powerful beings in existence and took out every single Justice League member. He can also do the same thing with his brain and make him become more like the Joker, which is wild, make extra muscles, make himself immune to viruses and toxins, can survive without a heart. He can do so much, and it's all just from his shapeshifting. But he still doesn't beat our number 2 spot, Plastic Man. And yes, you can argue that Martian Manhunter is more versatile because he can change his genetics and things like that. But Plastic Man's so good that he doesn't even need to do all of that. He's just already immortal. And he has way more feats with the power. He can stretch himself a lot farther and is more durable and is more creative than Martian Manhunter will ever be. And because of that, he will always beat him out in pure shapeshifting alone. But there is one person that not only beats everyone on this list, but is so good with this power that even Plastic Man would get jealous. And that person is the Impossible Man. Like, it's literally in the name. He can do every single thing everyone else can do. First debuting in Fantastic Four number 11, he comes from the planet Pop-Up, a dangerous world filled with aliens just like him that eventually evolved into sort of this hive mind, or a unified intelligence, you know what I mean? And by the time he was old enough to know what was going on, he realized that this was not what he wanted in his life and came to Earth out of boredom. And now is just a straight up trickster, dude. He has no limitations to speak of with this power. Solids like steel, non-conductive metal, organic ice, he can beat them with ease. Any liquids, gases, any elements. The dude transformed into a plastic bag filled with water once, all to defeat the Human Torch. He can become massive working spaceships, a pterodactyl, a power generator, clothing. He can become various presidents including George Washington, a tornado, odorless gas, a rear view mirror, bro. The dude can be anything and he also cannot die. And when he transforms into a character, he can take their powers as well and use them the exact same way and strength as the original character. He does have one limitation though, I was wrong about that. The only limit he has is that he can't change his color. It's always going to be green and purple. But other than that, that is it. So without a doubt in my mind, the Impossible Man from Marvel is the best shapeshifter in all of comics. Which means he is moving forward and is gonna go against the best shapeshifter in all of anime. And that person will be determined in a future video. You know, let's do something different, you know? So next time on NTTV, we're going to be covering who's the best shapeshifter in all of anime. And then we'll see once and for all, who is the best shapeshifter of all time. So if that sounds good, leave a like, subscribe, and y'all let me know who y'all's top picks are and if y'all agree with the list. This was pretty fun and I wanted to make these a bit shorter so I could pump out more videos because I'm telling you, if I'm not consistent, YouTube will not push out my videos, man. Which sucks, but it's cool. I'm not tripping. I just gotta work harder and that's okay. It's nothing we can't overcome. Let me know if y'all have any other video ideas and yeah, I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace out.